bring you the constant variety of sport.
The man is incredible.
The thrill of victory.
Absolutely the best.
And the agony of defeat.
Oh, look at him go! Oh, baby. Oh, no.
This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
History.
Everybody is up. It's a rare sight for any person anywhere. I believe unequaled in any other sporting event. Great drivers with beautiful...
History is the building block of mankind's individuality.
Most kids grew up playing baseball and football. I grew up around my dad's garage. He was a racer, and that's all I ever wanted to be.
There was never any pressure. I grew up doing it all. I could have been driving a golf ball instead of a race car.
It had to have an engine, it had to be fast, and it had to be loud. Heck, if I'd have come across this first, I might have been a fighter pilot.
I was practically born in a race car. I jumped straight from a baby carriage right into carburation.
Challenge.
A touch coming down through the trail. Back in second place, whatever they're for. It is going to be...
This Ricky Rudd's car, it goes end over end.
Challenge is the mortar which binds those individuals to a singular vision.
I love challenges no matter where they came from. But this one, it was in my blood.
4 wheels, 2 wheels, no wheels. Heck, it just didn't matter. I wanted to do it better and faster.
Voight and Mears, Waltrip and Earnhardt. I dreamed as a kid of racing these guys on the biggest and fastest speedway.
When I started in Winston Cup racing, drivers started coming from all parts of the country. It didn't matter whether they come from California or Carolina. We all had one thing in mind.
In every man's life, there are crossroads.
Crossroads.
While driving the dirt tracks in North Carolina, all we dreamed about was making it to Daytona. We never thought we'd go to Indy.
For these men, there is one common intersection that lay ahead.
My life has taken some interesting turns, from road course Ricky to a win streak. But Indy, I never thought I'd get a chance to race at the Brickyard.
For some, childhood dreams are the vehicle that has hurtled them to this intersection.
I grew up in California, but we were all about Indy. So much so, we moved here, only to leave and go south, wondering if we'd ever get back home again.
For others, a journey down a more winding road has propelled them toward their destiny.
It was a trip down a long road. It was about 32 years before I knew it. But when I knew it, it was straight ahead and on the gas.
From all corners of this land, from all walks of life, 43 men will meet to reflect on the past, to live for the present.
And Dale Jarrett wins the Brickyard 400 for the second time. Ricky Rudd wins. Dale Earnhardt has won. Jeff Gordon, winner of the inaugural Brickyard.
To lay another brick that will fuel and bind their common passion forever. 4 men have etched their names into Indy history. 39 others will take up the challenge to cement their legacy at the Brickyard.
Brickyard 400.
Live from the world's most famous race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, ABC Sports presents the 7th annual Brickyard 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Throughout the world, there are landmarks that are unmistakable and easily recognized. Listed in the National Registry of Historic Places, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is such a facility. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. In a 63-day span late in 1909, 3.2 million bricks were placed at a racing facility on the west side of Indianapolis. Little did the Masons know at that time they were cementing the foundation of an American icon, a place where thousands of men and women would come to pursue their dream of racing, and a few realize their dream of winning here. In the next few minutes, 43 stock car drivers will begin their pursuit of being the next to conquer this 91-year-old facility that has become an American sanctuary, at a place that has, down through the years, become simply known as the Brickyard.
There is arguably no more hallowed ground in all of American motorsports than right here where I'm standing. Victory Lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 84 times in the month of May and 6 times in the month of August, drivers have celebrated here and shared a common bond. They have each come to realize that this day, this race, this win at Indy would change their life forever.
There have been a lot of big changes here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the last year, and none bigger than this new 11-story pagoda tower. 6,000 cubic yards of concrete and 1,100 tons of steel make up this massive structure. But folks, it's not a building that makes Indianapolis special. It's the history of the men that have won here. One thing will never change. A win at the Brickyard is a career highlight.
Today, it's 160 laps, and two of the most important moments will happen right here in the flag stand. Just minutes from now, Rodney Wise is going to wave this green flag to signal the start of the Brickyard 400. And 400 miles later, he's going to wave this checkered flag to end it. What happens in between? Well, hair-raising moments of hope and heartbreak. Rodney Wise is a quiet man most fans will never meet. But every driver in this field knows him because he'll be the first man to greet the next winner at Indianapolis.
When a local Indianapolis boy becomes a major auto racing star, he's revered and admired. Unfortunately, today is to one of our heroes we must pay a final tribute as we go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for a very special tribute, followed by today's invocation to be given by Pastor Howard Bramer.
31 years ago today, a boy was born on the east side of Indianapolis in the shadow of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As he grew, so did his passion for racing.
Kenny Irwin will be shown in 4th spot in this year.
And as a young man, he distinguished himself with his racing accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, the 7th running of the Brickyard 400 is dedicated to the memory of Kenny Irwin Jr.
Almighty God, it is appropriate that today we remember the life of Kenny Irwin Jr., and that we reflect upon the life of Adam Petty and others from the racing fraternity who are not here because of untimely death. It is also highly appropriate that we now pause and look to you, for you are the one and only true God. Because of the expertise of these world-class drivers and the famed history of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we assemble here and join with millions around the world to witness one of the greatest events in all of sports. Lord, you have created us with a healthy spirit of competition, as well as the capacity for goodwill. May both of these qualities, along with safety, be in evidence here today. And now, Almighty God, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we pray that from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam, God bless America, our home, sweet home. Amen.
Would you please remain standing for our national anthem to be performed by the Indiana State University Marching Sycamores, the vocalist superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Melvin Caraway.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we at the twilight's last gleaming, whose was stripes and white stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched, oh so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare of bombs bursting in air gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and home of the brave.
Squadron of F-16s from the Indiana National Guard with the flyover as the 325,000 fans gathered here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway now are ready for the command to get this great event underway. Since 1911, they have been racing 500-mile races here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is the 7th edition of this 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. And the emotion and the electricity along pit road and in the grandstand could not be better. It's a beautiful day in Indiana with Hoosier skies blue overhead. There is a breeze from the south blowing to the north. There are showers expected, but not until later this afternoon. We should have an uninterrupted Brickyard 400. However, we could have some clouds move in over the racetrack before the race ends, and that could mean some problems for the teams who have prepared for a sunny day. Now let's go down trackside once again as we get those famous words.
And now to give the command to the drivers is the chairman of the board of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mrs. Marie Hallman George.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And you will truly love today's front row. Pole sitter Ricky Rudd hasn't won a NASCAR Winston Cup race since the fall of 1998. But today wheels the car last driven here at Indy for the late Kenny Irwin, on a day in which Kenny would have celebrated his 31st birthday. On the outside of row 1, the clock is ticking for 53-year-old Darrell Waltrip. Today, the 3-time Winston Cup champion makes his final start at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this his farewell season. Remarkably, it has been 8 years since this legendary driver last visited a Winston Cup victory lane. As the end draws near, both Darrell and his legion of fans have hoped and prayed that somehow, just once more, he could bask in the glow of victory. Maybe today is that day.
Dale Earnhardt won the Brickyard 400 in 1995. 3 years later, he finally won the Daytona 500. But for 6 years now, Earnhardt has been racing the competition and chasing his 8th Winston Cup championship. Today, he faces a twofold challenge: make some more history at Indy while trying to move closer to history in the record books. When Earnhardt won here, he beat Rusty Wallace by about 3 bricks. Rusty's been the Rodney Dangerfield of Winston Cup this season. No respect. Despite 2 wins this year and 51 for his career. But Rusty's never won at Daytona or Indy. If he does win today, it won't be milk they're drinking in Victory Lane.
Well, Bill, the top 10 finishers in last year's Brickyard 400 are the exact same guys who are now in the top 10 in Winston Cup points. So what does that mean? Well, that means you've got to be awfully good to win here at Indy. Last year's champion and this year's point leader have a lot of confidence. So I think the 18 and the 88 are the favorites today. Their past performances here in the depth of these two teams should make for a great race today on the track and an excellent chase all the way to the championship.
For a stock car driver, every win is special, but some just a little bit more special than others. I lost the Daytona 500 19 times. I won it once in 1975, but that one victory totally overshadowed those 19 losses. I guess right now, for a crew chief, it's about the same way.
Benny, it is. When I was the crew chief here at the Brickyard, I was so focused on my job, I didn't know how to enjoy Victory Lane. It wasn't until the next day when I saw my family, had a moment to reflect, that I realized what we had done.
Well, the cars sit on the main straightaway here in Indy. They'll tour the oval twice to get heat in their tires, then come down a 3rd time to get the green flag, and the beginning of a 160-lap dash to the history books. The starting grid for the Brickyard 400 coming up.
The Brickyard 400 on ABC Sports, brought to you by Big Kmart, changing for the better. Citgo, you love racing, we love racing. Conseco and Exide NASCAR Select, the official automotive battery of NASCAR.
The start of the Brickyard 400 is just moments away. And although one of the largest purses in motorsports at over $6.5 million, some drivers say they would pay to race here. The last place driver will get a guaranteed $80,655. Dale Earnhardt is the race record holder. Now here's the starting lineup on the pole for the second time this year, but for the first time here at Indy, Ricky Rudd, the winner of the Brickyard 400 3 years ago. Outside row one, the oldest driver in the field, Darrell Waltrip, who at age 53 is in his 29th and final season of competition. Row two, the current points leader in the Winston Cup Series, Bobby Lamonte from Corpus Christi, Texas. And on the outside of row two, veteran Kyle Petty, who'll be substituting for Jeremy Mayfield. Yesterday in practice, Jeremy's car slid in oil to the third turn concrete. He suffered a concussion, was not medically cleared to drive. Petty will go to the tail of the field before the green flag drops. Now the rest of the starting lineup, and Benny, we talked about the clouds that could move in. How will that affect the handling of these race cars?
It's going to make the race cars a little bit tighter. The crew chief's going to really have a lot of problems. They're trying to keep up with the change of weather if those clouds come in.
Ray, do we expect a lot of pit stops here today?
The pit stops here don't come as often as they do at some of the shorter tracks. You've got to make good adjustments because you don't get as many pit stops.
Back in row number 10, Robert Presley and Sterling Marlin. Starting in the 11th row, Jimmy Spencer and Steve Park. The 12th row consists of Jerry Nadeau and the winner of the first pole position here at the Brickyard, Rick Mast. The 13th row, brothers Todd Bodine and Brett Bodine. Brett, who is the track record holder now after second round time trials. Todd is substituting for Terry Labonte, who as a result of a crash at Daytona last month is unable to start today's race and therefore ends his record streak of 655 consecutive starts. And it was an emotional Terry Labonte that talked with us before the crowd gathered here today. Was certainly unhappy that he was unable to start today's race. Jeff Gordon, two-time winner way back in the 15th row. He's got a lot of positions to make up back in the 16th row. It's Wally Dallenbach and Bobby Hamilton. And in the 17th row, Benny, Jeff Burton. He's not unaccustomed to starting in the back, but I'd look for him to go to the front.
Yes, Jeff Burton was very confident in NASCAR today about how well his car is running and feels like it's easily going to the front, along with Joe Nemechek, who is the fastest car, second fastest car in happy hour.
These drivers had to take provisionals to get into the starting lineup. Chad Little and Kevin LePage are back in the 20th row. Ted Musgrave and Dave Blaney will start in row 21. And in the 43rd and final starting position, rookie Stacy Compton. Now a look at the drivers who failed to make the field. Kyle Petty, although he will be in this race in a substitute role. Robbie Gordon, Dave Marcus, Bill Baird, David Keith, and Rich Bickle. Down to Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, in two of the last three Brickyard 400s, fuel mileage has played a major role in determining the outcome. Back in 1998, Dale Jarrett's great run came to a premature end when his team left him out one lap too many. He finished a disappointing 16th place. In 1997, Ricky Rudd won here in Indianapolis, although he didn't have the fastest car, but he had the best fuel mileage. Today, these teams know that they can stretch their fuel mileage to 40 laps. They can make this a 3 pit stop race. If that stretch works, it looked like Ricky Rudd. If it doesn't work, well, you saw him pushing Dale Jarrett's car. Right?
Well, Jerry, coming into this weekend, there had been 11 track records set this season. Now it's 12. The reason is these cars are going much, much faster. And I think it's because of the Goodyear tires. It's a new generation tire. Now, we have seen some problems with them already this weekend. This tire is the exact same tire they used at Pocono last week. Now, remember, Dale Earnhardt Sr. finished 25th that day after cutting down his right front tire. And Jeremy Mayfield was just 1 mile away from victory before his right front started to go down. So there may be tire issues today. If there are, we'll get you the story from here on pit road. Bill?
Well, no matter how hard a driver works out on the track, his best opportunity to pass may be right here. Pit strategy will be pivotal. Will 2 tires be enough, or will I need 4 and win? The pit crew has to be good, and they have to be fast. Only 2 things can happen on pit road. You can pass the other guy, or the race might pass you by. And while this is a big track, pit road is pinched by 2 walls. Drivers in the outside lane will cheat toward the middle. And when traffic gets hectic, that's when the Speedway often looks like a shopping mall.
In NASCAR Winston Cup racing, the word pressure is used a great deal. We normally talk about tire pressure, air pressure in the tires, but today, these big events, there's a lot of mental pressure. The drivers having to do the job, the crew chiefs trying to make those decisions, and the crews having to worry about making those 14, 15-second pit stops. Ray, how about the crew chief? Is he the guy under most pressure?
No, Benny, as a crew chief, your job is to not create pressure for the guys. They've got to be able to do their job just as they do back at the shop. As far as your race strategy, you bring a playbook of what you hope will happen, but pretty much the race is going to dictate whatever strategy you use.
325,000 race fans have gathered here on the west side of Indianapolis to watch this race here today. They are virtually all the way around the track. The cars right now are at the end of the backstretch headed into turn number 3. When they come down this time, they will be getting the green flag, and we have a host of onboard cameras to complement the coverage of our race here this afternoon.
On board now with the Winston Cup points leader, Bobby Labonte, Ray Dunlap.
Well, Benny, the 11 car was about an hour and a half late getting to the inspection line. Mike Hillman, the new crew chief, takes full accountability for that, but Brett is in the car and out there and ready to go now. Brett says this is the best race car that he's ever had at Indianapolis, and remember, in the inaugural race here, he finished second.
He is the fastest qualifier, although that came in second round, and so he starts back in the 26th position. The fastest qualifier in first round, Ricky Rudd. He's in that black and red car. On the inside, behind the pace car, Darrell Waltrip is alongside. Now the pace car pulls off the racetrack. The fans on their feet, and we are ready for the start of the 2007th annual Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Ricky Rudd has a pretty good lead down the backstretch, but they're 3 wide behind him. Waltrip, Earnhardt, and Jarrett 3 wide heading into turn number 3 on the first lap. The battle for second position is between Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Labonte gets second as they come down to complete lap number 1. The pole winner has led the first lap of every Brickyard, and it continues in 2000 as Ricky Rudd will lead lap 1. Labonte second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is third, and Dale Earnhardt is fourth.
Rusty Wallace, the blue and white number 2, trying to take a look on the inside of Darrell Waltrip. Could not quite get it done. That's a battle for the 7th position.
Single file formation now down the backstretch the second time. There is Rusty Wallace.
John Andretti, the 43 car on the inside of Steve Park, takes a spot away. This is in turn 3.
Andretti a little loose as he gets to the inside, and also a car making a move is Jerry Nadeau to the inside of the short chute, picks up a position. And he may have had some contact with Steve Park as they came out of corner number 4.
The yellow car on your left is Steve Park. There's Jerry Nadeau on the inside. And they go through the corners side by side. And Steve Park from the outside takes a spot away from Nadeau.
Bodine in the number 5 car, remember, in substitution for Terry Labonte. And Jeff Gordon begins to move up through the traffic. He's low on the inside of the racetrack in the short chute.
Now that's Gordon in the blue car, a special paint job this weekend, not the normal rainbow colors of the DuPont.
Celebrating 50 years of the cartoon Peanuts. There is Rick Mast going to the inside of Nadeau, making it 3 wide into turn number 1, but they get 2 abreast, and Rick Mast picks up a spot. Jeff Gordon now racing alongside Kenny Wallace. Jeff Burton, who started in the back of the field, also moving up. He's in the 99 car. Swinging to the inside. Once again, 3 wide. That's Wally Dallenbach in the 75 car. Meanwhile, back up front, it continues to be Ricky Rudd leading Here is Jeff Gordon once again moving to the inside as there is Ricky Rudd leading. Bobby Labonte running in second position, and down the front straightaway here they're fanned out 4 wide. Rusty Wallace down low now gets in the groove, headed into turn number 1. Tony Stewart, the driver from Rushville, Indiana, about 35 miles south of here in the number 20 Home Depot Pontiac. Four laps have been completed. 160 make up this 7th annual Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pole sitter Ricky Rudd leads. The Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is 7 laps old. Ricky Rudd continues to lead over Bobby Labonte, although Labonte has closed in. Running in 3rd position is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here is Tony Stewart to the inside of Ward Burton and picking up another position.
I think it moves him to about the 8th position.
Tony Stewart, last year's Rookie of the Year in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Another driver who has made nice advances here in the first few laps is Bill Elliott, who is up to the 4th spot after starting back in 7th.
It's just amazing how these first 6 or 7 cars have spread out in the first 8 laps of the race.
Elliott is about 6 3/4 seconds behind the leader already. Here comes Rusty Wallace, who is in 5th position, about 7.5 seconds behind. Then comes Dale Earnhardt.
And Dale Earnhardt, the Goodrich Chevrolet, seems to have some kind of problems. He was in front of Earnhardt just a couple of laps ago. In front of Elliott a couple of laps ago. Elliott, both he and Rusty Wallace have gotten by. Now he's under pressure from Darrell Waltrip and Tony Stewart.
More from Jerry Punch.
Guys, this morning, some very anxious moments for Dale Earnhardt and the Goodrich Chevrolet team. They found a crack in the oil pan for morning inspection and to take the race engine out. So they decided to go ahead and put the engine they planned on racing 2 weeks from now at Michigan in the car. The problem is that engine had not been on the racetrack, so they were a little concerned about fuel mileage, so they'll pit probably a lap or 2 early to be conservative. Right now, Earnhardt is complaining the car is very, very tight. He says, guys, we've got to take some bite out. I can't get it to turn in the corners.
That's Darrell Waltrip, with whom he is racing in the 66 car. Waltrip moving up to the 6th position at the moment. We're on board with Tony Stewart. And he too moves to the inside of Earnhardt, who had problems during happy hour last night, but said in an interview earlier today that he had corrected those problems in the final closing minutes of happy hour and was confident that things would go well today. But as Jerry told you, more problems have cropped up.
And if Dale Earnhardt's car is tight now and some clouds do roll in throughout the day, it will be even tighter. So they've got some serious problems. Look at that car as it comes off the corner, just push right up the hill.
That's opening the inside, so the cars that are driving good on the bottom are driving right down underneath them.
And that includes Ward Burton, Dale Jarrett, and the 43 car of John Andretti. Now, for those of you who haven't been with us for a few NASCAR Winston Cup races, at the Pepsi 400 in July at Daytona, the major sponsorship on that car was changed to Cheerios, so it is no longer the STP red and blue that we have associated with Team Petty and John Andretti the last few years. It's the Cheerios Pontiac with STP associate sponsorship. John Andretti, of course, a native Hoosier. Jerry Nadeau and Steve Park continue to battle it out. They've been running together since the green flag drop. That's 16th and 17th.
Jerry Nadeau started back in 23rd, so he is marching towards the front.
And he was the fastest car in yesterday afternoon's happy hour.
Very optimistic. They're very, very optimistic about their chances here in the Brickyard 400. Talking about Jerry Nadeau, the 25 car and his crew.
Ricky Rudd continues to lead. The separation back to second place. Bobby Labonte just about a second.
And Bob, the temperature needle in the Interstate Batteries Pontiac beginning to climb. Bobby Labonte has picked up a piece of trash on one of the openings on the front grille of the car. That's destroying the air, preventing it from going in there. Temperature starting to climb until he can climb back on the bumper of Rudd's car or gets to slow for a caution. That paper could stay there for a long time, and that temperature needle could continue to climb.
Expecting pit stop somewhere between 35 and 40 laps. Ricky Rudd is leading his third Brickyard 400. Before today, he led a total of 16 laps in the first 6 Brickyard 400s. Right now, he has been out front for the first 12. With about a 3/4 of a second lead on Bobby Labonte, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in third position, Bill Elliott fourth. Ricky Rudd, however, the man of the moment at the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Welcome to ABC's live coverage of the spectacle. They're the top 10 after 12 of 160 laps. Caution is out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We have had a crash down in turn number 1 involving Mark Martin. We also understand the car of Jeff Gordon is damaged. The safety crew is at the Valvoline Ford, and Mark Martin is climbing out uninjured. We'll take a look at what happened as the cars went down into turn number 1 on the 16th lap.
There's Martin on the inside of Michael Waltrip. Mike Skinner right behind, and just as they go in the corner, Skinner gets in the back of Mark Martin, and boom, in the wall goes Mark. And here's Jeff Gordon making some contact with Rick Mast as he go down in turn 1. And Mast does not look like he hits the wall.
Now from Skinner's onboard camera, we will watch the bump. There they hit twice coming off the 4th corner, Benny.
That was Michael Waltrip and Mark making contact as you go down the front straightaway. Now, right here, boom.
And from another angle, we see the contact between Mike Waltrip and Mark Martin as they go down to the turn, and then the contact between Mike Skinner and Mark Martin that sends him hard into that outside wall.
Very, very hard.
I know we say it a lot, but those fuel cells in those cars are amazing.
Mark Martin did walk away from the car to the ambulance. He finished last at Pocono, the most recent race 2 weeks ago, and it could be that he has a second consecutive race in which he finishes in last position. Been an up and down season as far as the 2000 campaign is concerned. Well, pit stops are occurring. Let's go down to Bill.
And obviously, Bob, this could be a very dramatic turn of events here. Some guys are only going to take 2 tires. Some are going to take 4. Some are going to try and make major adjustments for ill-handling race cars. Bobby Labonte, the 2nd place car. That piece of paper has already fallen off his grill. It's the yellow line on the right side that is that invisible right side wall. Remember, these teams must bring those right side tires back. No adjustments for Labonte. It's 4 tires and fuel. We go to Jerry Punch.
Ricky Rudd complained of his car being tight in the middle of the corner off. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, a sizable air pressure adjustment to the right front and right rear. 4 tires going on, otherwise they're on the way. Let's go to Ray.
Jerry, right side tires only for Jeff Burton. His car was very, very tight, so they went down around the wedge and made an air pressure adjustment. Got out of the track in about 8.9 seconds. Good pit stop for the 99.
But look at Dale Earnhardt still sitting on pit road as all these cars go by as they made major adjustments on the Goodrich Chevrolet.
But Benny, we talked about yesterday, this would be the ideal time to bring a car from the back to the front. The 99 car is always good. They did the 2 tires optimum, halfway on fuel and tires. They put on 2 right sides. He's going to get great track position.
Doesn't look good for Jeff Gordon. They're trying to pound out the damage sustained by that car when he had contact with Rick Mast down at turn number 1. Jeff Gordon, 2-time winner of the Brickyard 400, sits on pit road as the crew works on the car. Here's the crash that has brought out the first caution in the 7th Brickyard 400. We'll have more live coverage after this.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One. Here now, Robin Roberts.
The Brickyard 400 still under caution, but we will return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in just a moment. First, are you ready for some football, college football, that is? Remember last year, Florida State wire to wire as #1. That's the first time that ever happened. But in the Associated Press Top 25, the Noles start #2. Nebraska is #1 for the 6th time since 1950. Never had the Huskers won a national championship when they're the preseason #1. Bama 3rd, Wisconsin 4th, Miami 5th. Notre Dame not in the preseason AP Top 25 for the first time since 1986. To racing. Busch Series, last night's Kroger 200. Mike McLaughlin in the number 48 car gets tangled up with Wayne Grubb, and Mighty Mike, you know, he just doesn't like that, does he? Ron Hornaday, just a rookie, passes Jeff Purvis for the lead on lap 152, and Hornaday holds on for his 2nd career title. Coming up next here on ABC Sports at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, Dale Earnhardt seeks his 4th IROC title at the Brickyard, but Bobby Labonte could stand in his way. More racing ahead here on ABC. That's our Wide World of Sports mobile update. We'll have more for you later. Back now to the Brickyard and Bob Jenkins.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're about a half a lap from the green flag. We'll get down to Jerry Punch for a report from pit road.
If you're taking notes at home, it's a long list of what they did to Dale Earnhardt's car. Dale said the car was tight everywhere, including the straightaway. That's how bad it was. But they came in and they changed the track bar. They made a wedge adjustment. They made an air pressure adjustment in 3 of the 4 tires. And Dale also wanted a rubber in the right front, but they didn't have time. Major adjustments on the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Robbie Loomis has told Jeff Gordon the damage is just cosmetic. It doesn't look too good. They think the car's going to run very well. Here's where they saved themselves a bunch of time on pit road. They had prefabricated pieces for the nose and the front fenders that they could go ahead and put on if there was any damage. What they did is they took the prefabricated piece for the right front fender, pop riveted it on, taped it with some of that fancy 200-mile-an-hour tape, and sent that 24 car back out on the track.
He is way back in the field, though, as Rusty Wallace leads them down to take the green flag and restart this race. Now, for a while, Stacy Compton, who started last, he chose not to pit, did get credit for leading a lap. And now Rusty Wallace is in front, so Rusty becomes the 3rd leader of this race. That's Jerry Nadeau running in 2nd spot. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 3rd, then Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott.
And we saw that paper blow up as these cars went by just a moment ago. Early on in the race, we saw a couple of cars get some of that paper in the grill that really affects the cooling of the cars. They depend on air going through the grill, through the radiator, and keeping the water cool.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. all over the back end of Nadeau's car, and now he makes a move in the short chute and gets the position. So move Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to 2nd.
There's Bill Elliott on the inside of Darrell Waltrip. Ricky Rudd goes up on the inside of Waltrip, takes a spot away. Darrell quickly dives to the inside, so Bobby Labonte can't get on the inside.
Labonte will, however, maneuver to the inside or try to get to the inside of Darrell Waltrip between turns 1 and 2, but will not be able to do it. Now he gets a good run off the 2nd corner. They go down this long back straightaway, which is 5/8 of a mile long, and Tony Stewart is also going to try to go around Waltrip. He does. Now it's a battle among teammates. Stewart to the inside, Bobby Labonte on the high side of the racetrack. And behind those two, we have brothers battling for position. Ward Burton in the Cat-sponsored car and Jeff Burton in the 99.
And here comes Ward Burton. Look at the speed that Ward Burton's carrying off turn 4. It closes up right on the back bumper of Tony Stewart as Jeff Burton goes by Bobby Labonte.
And now Steve Park positions him inside, and here is Ward Burton passing Tony Stewart.
Oh, little wiggles that came off that corner.
Stewart and Burton are side by side. Meanwhile, up front it is a much closer race than it was before the caution, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. is staying right on the rear spoiler of Rusty Wallace. Rusty, as the series laps leader, has led 932 laps coming into today's Brickyard 400. He is leading his first Brickyard 400 since 1995, and this is the 13th race that he has led in the year 2000. There's Kyle Petty driving the number 12 car in substitution for Jeremy Mayfield, and here is Joe Nemechek passing Darrell Waltrip, and that moves Nemechek up into the top 20. There is the Mobil 1 sponsored number 12 car driven by Kyle Petty, and he finds himself right now back in the 28th position.
Had to start 43rd, dead last because of relief driver, also a backup car.
And Kyle didn't even get to make any laps in that car. The first laps he made in that car were this afternoon when the race started.
That's Hut Strickland in the Hills Brothers Coffee sponsored car, along with Johnny Benson. Things up front are pretty tight. The top five running right together, and then on back a good battle.
Tony Stewart has been able to get back by Ward Burton. Got 3 Pontiacs in a row. 2 of the Gibbs Pontiacs and Ward Burton. Joe Gibbs owns the 20 and the 18 cars. Bill Davis the 22 car.
Ooh, wow, did he get close to that wall?
He scared our camera to death.
There is the top 5 running together. And then about 3.5 seconds behind the top 5, the second group of cars.
Dale Earnhardt back there in 17th position.
Running behind Scott Pruitt, who's having a good run here in the Brickyard 400. He has competed before here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the 500. In fact, he competed in 4 Indianapolis 500s. His best finish was a 10th back in 1986. And Earnhardt now looks to the inside of Michael Waltrip. Can't make the pass.
And Joe Nemechek right behind Dale Earnhardt. He's very optimistic on his chances here at the Brickyard 400. Did not qualify particularly well, about 33rd, but he is marching forward. He's now up to the 19th position.
And Scott Pruitt has just taken 14th from Sterling Marlin.
Make that 18th for Joe Nemechek.
Wallace separates himself a little bit from his closest pursuer, Dale Earnhardt Jr., but for the moment it's Rusty Wallace up front. Earnhardt Jr. second, then Jerry Nadeau, Bill Elliott, and the pole sitter Ricky Rudd. Rusty Wallace has the lead at the Brickyard 400 as we have completed 30 laps. Now this battle for second is a good one. Jerry Nadeau in the blue and white car and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Jr. looks like more or less relinquished that position.
He just moved over and let him go. The reason being, I believe, is Jerry Nadeau pulled up behind Dale Earnhardt, right behind him, and I think he got the Bud Chevrolet just a lot looser than Dale Jr. wanted to be. And so he said, look, go on, I'll fall behind this group so I can drive the car a little bit tighter.
And sometimes when you get behind a car, it takes the air off the front fenders and it does tighten the car up a little bit for you.
Now Bill Elliott looks to the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. We're on board with Little E. And Elliott will make the move. And now here comes Ricky Rudd with him. So all of a sudden, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has fallen from second back to 5th.
It really truly was the wisest thing to do, especially if his car was ill handling at the time, right in front of those cars. Fall back, make some adjustment, and be here at the end of this thing. Joe Nemechek, 33, Sterling Marlin in 40. These guys are 16th and 17th.
Michael Waltrip there in the 7. And don't forget, Todd Bodine now is the driver of the number 5 car, which you have associated with Terry Labonte for a long time. But Terry Labonte unable to start today's Brickyard 400. Jerry Punch is with Mark Martin.
And Mark, sort of the kind of week you've had here. I mean, but a very tight, narrow turn 1. Looks like it got you. What happened there?
Well, you know, we were having a little trouble out there. Michael was having some trouble in turns, and I just really wanted to make sure that I got by him cleanly and didn't, you know, be real careful and make sure we didn't have any problem. And he was wanting to race pretty hard there. I had Skinner as my friend there trying to help push me by him down the straightaway. And we approached turn 1, and I had to check up early because I didn't want to take a chance on sliding up into Michael. And it was earlier, I'm sure, than Skinner expected, and I just got a little push there, and we wrecked big.
But you're okay.
I'm fine. You know, it looked a lot worse than it really was. And I don't know. I guess I've been more upset. Things have been going good, man. Looking good. So sour. I just can't even get upset anymore. I really had a lot of things go wrong this year that shouldn't, and I was trying so hard. Trying to handle Michael with kid gloves there.
Okay, Mark Martin's okay, but a brand new car is history for the second week in a row, guys. He will finish in 43rd position.
And Jerry Nadeau has taken the lead from Rusty Wallace, and the 29-year-old from Danbury, Connecticut, finds himself in front of the Brickyard 400 for the first time. This is his 89th NASCAR Winston Cup start. As Ray told you, he did have the fastest car in happy hour yesterday afternoon, the final practice.
Friday morning when I walked into the garage area, one of the crewmen stopped me and told me, we got something for these guys. Talking about the 25, Jerry Nadeau.
Way back in the 31st and 32nd positions. We find the 36 car, the 26 car rather, of Jimmy Spencer. And right behind him is Brett Bodine in car number 11, the Ralph Supermarket car. He owns the track record here at Indianapolis for 1 lap. That came in second round, and it was quite a surprise on Friday afternoon when he did that. But he got a cloud over the racetrack, which cooled it a bit. Good lap, and he is the track record holder. But because it was in second round, he starts in the 26th position, and he currently is in 32nd.
Elliott Sadler in the 21 and Ricky Craven in the 50, going by Bobby Hamilton. That's back in the 26th, 27th position. On board with Elliott Sadler.
Jerry Nadeau opens up a little bit of a lead over Rusty Wallace down the backstretch into turn number 3 on the 36th lap of the race. And now the top 4 separate themselves from the 5th place car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Ray Dunlap has a report on Jerry Nadeau.
Well, Bob, we heard Jerry Punch say that the number 6 car Mark Martin was driving was a brand new car. Well, so is the one that Jerry Nadeau drives. As a matter of fact, 18 cars entered in this race are brand new chassis and have never been raced. Well, Jerry Nadeau has never finished better than 26th here, and he told me the reason was he could never get off at turn number 4, and he always got beat down the long front straightaway. Well, this brand new chassis is working much better to his liking. He said the car is its very best coming off turn 4, and that's why they've been able to move all the way to the lead.
A member of the Rick Hendrick team, Jerry Nadeau's best finish in the NASCAR Winston Cup race was at New Hampshire in July of this year. He finished in 4th spot. He leads over Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, and now Bobby Labonte. ABC's live coverage of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway continues. One of America's most enduring corporate images, the Goodyear blimp, is floating overhead, providing an aerial view. The Spirit of Goodyear is one of 7 airships in the Goodyear blimp fleet. Goodyear now has 2 blimps in Europe, 1 in South America, 1 in Australia, and 3 here in the USA. We're watching Jerry Nadeau leading the Brickyard 400 by a little over a second over Rusty Wallace.
And Tony First probably telling him right now, okay, buddy, we're a little over halfway on fuel and tires, and everything looks good. Take it easy. And they are really setting a nice pace.
Got a second and a half lead between you and Rusty. Just remember that right front. Buddy.
Ricky Rudd has taken over 3rd position. Bill Elliott 4th. Then comes Labonte. There is Tony Stewart. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's fallen back to the 7th position. And Dale Jarrett begins to make a move now, moving to the inside of Jeff Burton down the front stretch. And Scott Pruitt comes along.
That's a battle for the 10th, 11th, 12th position. Uh-oh, someone said they ran over something on the track.
That was Jerry.
It looks good from here.
Sometimes it's just a clump of rubber. Rubber starts to gather out on the racetrack. It makes a noise under the car. Certainly something that can upset the driver. Let's just hope that's all it was.
Oh, and the car is against the wall. John Andretti is...
3 and 4. He's going down to the bottom.
And the caution is out. John Andretti down to the warm-up lane. But the Cheerios Pontiac is badly damaged.
And we see John trying to turn the steering wheel, so he is moving around in the car, disconnecting the helmet. The hose is from the helmet. That's hard contact.
Brings out our 2nd caution of this race. Watch the right side of your screen on the replay.
The right front tire goes flat for some reason. Wow, and back in the wall for some reason, going in turn 3, the right front tire is either cut down or something, and just, man, he pounds that wall.
And Jeff Burton had to take evasive action to miss John. There's the contact with the wall. Jarrett, Pruitt, and Jeff Burton go low, and the others go high. Everybody misses John Andretti, but the driver who competed in 7 Indianapolis 500s and has started all 7 Brickyard 400s finds himself against the wall in the 3rd turn at Indianapolis.
And you see John Andretti is moving kind of slow. There's a couple reasons for that. Number one, he's very disappointed because he's out of the race, not a chance to win in his hometown. And the second thing, he's hurting pretty good right now because that was a very hard blow.
John's best finish here in the Brickyard 400 was in 1998. He finished in 7th position, waves to the crowd. He's okay, will go into the ambulance, however, and take the mandatory checkup at the infield care center. Well, pit road should be open this time since the pace car is out there and has the field in tow. So all important pit stops are going to be happening here on the 44th lap of the race.
Now, Jerry Nadeau last time, had to change 2 tires to get that track position. Is he going to change 4 this time? Is he going to lose some track position? Because those guys that changed 4 before, maybe they'll just change 2 this time. Rusty Wallace, he fell in love that 2 tires change after that victory at Pocono. He changed 2 that first stop.
Benny, it's too long on left sides. They've got a full fuel run on left sides now. They're going to have to change left sides. The guys that put on 4 last time can choose to do 2, but now pretty much everybody's got to do 4, so you really won't lose anything if you do 4.
All cars are still on the lead lap, so are eligible to pit this time by. You can see those running toward the front of the field. Will 55-mile-an-hour speed limit down pit road. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bob, this will be a 4-tire change for sure for Jerry Nadeau because they did 2 on the very first one. A half-pound down on the right rear's air pressure so Jerry can have a car with a little bit more grip. Now to Bill Weber.
Rusty
Steve Wallace, a little loose, gets 1 round of fight the left side, 4 tires in fuel, 22 laps on this set of tires. Jerry Punch.
Bill Elliott also a little bit loose. They were going to make a track bar adjustment, but decided to go ahead and just make an air pressure adjustment in the right front tire. The 28 is out. The 25 and 2 is out. Here goes Rusty. Nadeau goes by. And Elliott is down and away right in front of Ricky Rudd.
So the first 2 positions are going to swap here off pit road. Rusty Wallace got out ahead of Jerry Nadeau as John Andretti's battered machine is on a wrecker headed for the garage area. 44 laps completed at Indianapolis, and we'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. The field is on the backstretch. When they come around, they will get the green flag and resume the Brickyard 400 after the second caution of the afternoon because of a crash involving John Andretti. Tommy Baldwin, right rear tire changer on Ward Burton's car. Where's the crew cam, BP?
And watch also the crew chief. Watch this as the Caterpillar Pontiac comes in. Man, he takes those lug nuts off, throws that tire off. The tire carrier puts the tire in position, goes around to the left side. Lug nuts coming off. Tire off. Tire, oh, there we go. A little bit of a miscue. And watch this. As soon as he gets to tighten the lug nuts, that hand goes up, keys are ready, and starts talking to his driver.
Saying go, go, go. Huh, Ray?
Go, go, go.
And that's what we're going to do right now as the pace car comes off the racetrack, and Rusty Wallace leads the field to the green flag on the 47th lap of the Brickyard 400. Jerry Nadeau, Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. the top 5 as Ward Burton tried to move to the inside to pick up a position but had to drop back in line.
It looks like the 33 car of Joe Nemechek might have changed 2 tires on that pit stop. He was 15th before the caution flag. He currently is in 8th position, picked up 7 spots.
Here's a battle for 3rd as Ricky Rudd goes to the inside of Bill Elliott at the end of the backstretch. Into turn number 3 they go side by side. Elliott and Rudd wheel to wheel through there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking on. And still nobody gives. Now Rudd takes the spot.
I'm told during that pit stop that the 75 of Wally Dallenbach and the 17 of Matt Kenseth made some contact on pit road. Some damage to the cars, but both able to continue.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. passes Bill Elliott in the second corner. Three wide down the backstretch. And also look at the drafting going on there. Bobby Labonte right behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart is behind Labonte.
You mean pushing? That was more pushing than it was drafting. Ward Burton on the inside of Tony Stewart trying to take a spot away. And Bobby Labonte does get on the inside, takes a spot away from Dale Jr.
And moves Bobby Labonte up to the 4th position. There's Joe Nemechek in the 33 car that Vinny talked about a few moments ago, running side by side with Scott Pruitt. Sterling Marlin looking on.
And Joe Nemechek, I'm sure, changed too now because he's losing positions. He was 8th. He's now back to 14th as Pruitt trying to go by and take another spot away.
And Ray has an update.
Well, Benny, you're exactly right. It was just 2 tires for Joe Nemechek that time. They said, let's gamble early on here to try to get the track position. Looks like it may not be paying off.
Meanwhile, the 75 car of Wally Dallenbach has come in for a lengthy pit stop. So that car not on the track, and the other 2 not on are John Andretti and Mark Martin, both of whom have crashed. Otherwise, everybody is still out there and on the lead lap. Up front, it is Jerry Nadeau pursuing Rusty Wallace.
Well, these cars, the last time, both of them changed 2 right side tires. And we saw Nadeau pass Rusty Wallace and pull away by about 1.25 seconds. Now, this pit stop, they both changed 4 tires. Interesting to see what's going to happen now.
Benny, 2 tires and 4 tires affect each car differently. Sometimes when you put 2 tires on, it frees your car up a little bit. Sometimes when you put 4 tires on, it'll snug it back up.
It looks like the same thing's going to happen to me. Looks like Jerry Nadeau is going to make a run at Rusty and take that lead away.
Boy, Nemechek is looking good.
You mean Nadeau?
Nadeau.
Nadeau looks real good. When you can pull your car that low through the corner, he's got about 3/4 of his car underneath that white line. Any lower, he'll be in the grass.
Rusty Wallace, with whom we ride, was the fastest in the open test that they had here several weeks ago at over 181 miles an hour. Kyle Petty looks like he's lost the power and possibly was involved in a near miss out there.
He's certainly off the pace. There's no doubt about that. As cars go by, there's Jeff Gordon with damage to the 24 car going by. It's Ted Musgrave in 0-1. 17 of Matt Kendrick. Now Kyle's car is back up to speed.
Let's take a look at what happened. Oh, he's running there with Mike Bliss, and they made contact coming off the second corner. That's why Kyle got off the pace, but now he's back on.
Let's check it out from Elliott Sadler's viewpoint on board the Citgo Ford. Watch Kyle Petty just completely sideways when he jumped off the throttle and lost momentum. All these cars were able to get by.
John Andretti has been checked at the infield medical center and released. But on the racetrack, it is still a battle between Rusty Wallace and Jerry Nadeau as they are about 1.5 seconds ahead of the third-place car of Ricky Rudd. Running fourth at the moment is Bobby Labonte. Then Dale Earnhardt Jr., 52 laps completed. Up front, it remains Rusty Wallace and Jerry Nadeau. While we were in break, however, Bobby Labonte, who you see there in your picture, the third car, passed the 28 car of Ricky Rudd for third, and Bill Elliott got by Dale Earnhardt Jr. for fifth.
And Bobby Labonte, that green Interstate Batteries car, getting closer and closer to that front two. Last time by, our scoring monitor says he was 1 mile per hour faster than the 2 cars in front. That time, he was the same speed as those front 2 cars. Well, they're in the 13th position, the 92 car. Hut Strickland, his first ride in Junie Donlevy's Hill Brothers Coffee Machine, and he is making the most of it.
Started 36 by the 11th lap, had moved up to 28th, and now he finds himself in 13th position on the 57th lap of the race. A good run for Hut Strickland. Scott Pruitt right behind him, and then comes Mike Skinner. And Jeffrey Bodine. And Jeffrey Bodine had problems during qualifying. First round, spun the car coming out of the 4th turn, damaged it, came back in second round qualifying, and for the while had the fastest until his brother knocked him off. But nevertheless, Jeffrey Bodine in the Brickyard 400. Started in 16th, rather currently is running in the 16th position. Just ahead of him, Mike Skinner in the 31, Scott Pruitt in the 32. On board with Mike Skinner coming off corner number 2 down the back stretch.
And you hear that engine building those RPMs as he goes down these long straightaways.
Believe it or not, Mike Skinner has the best average finish here among those with more than 2 starts, 8.3.
When we started talking about Hut Strickland, and he lost his spot. So
Scott Pruitt got around. Pruitt's rookie year in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Now Mike Skinner goes to the inside of Hut Strickland, and Hut loses another spot. We better get off him, or he may be at the back of the field.
We got to quit talking about him. You know, Scott Pruitt in the Tide car 32, it looks like that Brad Parrott has moved over to the crew chief, has really turned that operation around, picked up a great deal of speed. And look at this, Rusty Wallace right now driving away from that 25 car of Jerry Nadeau.
Benny, I think those cars are pretty equal. The problem being the car behind picks up the dirty air, slows it down a little bit.
Ricky Rudd runs back in 4th position. He, however, won the Bud Pole for the Brickyard 400 and is eligible for the Bud Shootout at Daytona International Speedway in February of next year. There you see the drivers who are eligible for that race right now. Rusty Wallace has 7 poles this year. Dale Jarrett 3. Rudd won his 2nd here this weekend. More on Ricky Rudd from Bill Weber.
Well, Ricky Rudd has been having a good run on the track, but he does have a small problem in his car. The radio button that he uses to talk to his crew sticks. So he presses the button to talk to the crew. When he releases his thumb, this button doesn't come back up. So he has to remember to smack the button to get it to release so he can hear his crew. So far, it's working fine. What they're concerned about is that he might forget to hit it. The button would stay down. The crew wouldn't be able to hear him, so he couldn't hear his crew chief or his spotter. They brought out this backup button. They're going to put it on the drink pole during the next pit stop, hand it to Ricky to see if he can make the repairs under caution before they go back to green. So you not only have to be able to drive the car during the race, sometimes you got to be able to fix stuff. Jerry Punch.
Let's show you the right front tire that came off John Andretti's Pontiac. You see the outside of the tire. Take a look at the inside shoulder. There's a chunk missing on this inside shoulder of his right front tire. This tire had 25 laps on it. When he made his first pit stop at lap 16, they also had a couple of small chunks off the inside shoulder. They think that might have been what happened to John Andretti, but why don't we ask him, John, first of all, you took a pretty hard lick. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Looks like you might have had a tire situation with the right front on the inside.
Yeah, I don't know what the thing is. We have less camera than last year because we know that we were worried about last year when guys had problems with heat in the shoulders, and Goodyear said we were good, and we felt like we were good and pretty conservative. And I don't think that's what caused it. I'm not sure what caused it, if I got hit something and slid it and got a chunk knocked out of it or what. But when I went into turn 3, I had no indication, and it just went down on me.
So a piece of metal or something could have cut that tire and separated part of that?
It could have. I don't know. I mean, I'm no tire expert. I know we didn't have any problems up to that, and Terio's Pontiac was handling awful good, and then the King was in there telling me, he goes, next race we win, if somebody comes up and says you were lucky, he goes, I don't care if they all drop out. He goes, you need to punch them right between the eyes, because as unlucky as we've been, we deserve a little bit of luck, and boy, I'd have loved to have had it here at Indianapolis.
Can you get back in? You're staying in the uniform. They're working on the car. Any shot of getting back out and getting some points?
No, it's taking me that long to get over here. In all honesty, I hope they don't get it fixed. It's too hard to stay out of the way. There's too many guys out there racing, and this is too important of a race to be out there just trying to gain 3 or 4 points.
All right, John Andretti able to walk away with a smile, although a pretty hard lick.
And that man there behind John was his father, Aldo, his biggest fan. Well, we have a lap car separating now Rusty Wallace and Jerry Nadeau. That would be the 75 car of Wally Dallenbach. And Ray has an update on Jerry Nadeau.
Well, Bob, now the 25 car is just a little bit too tight, and Jerry's been saying we need to go back to the air pressure we had at the start of the race, because they did make an adjustment on this last 4-tire stop. Keep in mind, though, this car is very, very good on the short run and not as good on the long run. So they were happy last time to see that caution come out because they had only gone 27 laps. So Tony Furr, the crew chief, now says just hang up there. If we can keep in the front, at the end of the day today, if we get a short run, we still got a shot at winning the Brickyard 400.
And Ray, you talk about that dirty air. Now he's pulled up behind the 75 car of Wally Dallenbach, and he can't get a run on him because of being in that dirty air.
And that's going to make it worse, Benny. You know, as we said, sometimes 4 tires tighten up there. Jerry's got a good clean run now, but being behind the car, remember, he was up behind Rusty on that restart and behind Rusty for a while, and sometimes that'll make your right front tire pressure build up a little bit and make the car tighter.
The 50 car Ricky Craven is behind the wall. Here comes Bobby Labonte to the inside of Nadeau, and Bobby Labonte takes second spot.
And all that pass, we see Ricky Craven, as you said, Bob, going behind the wall. All that happened when Jerry Nadeau passed the 75 car down the backstretch, because when he got down to the inside, he destroyed his entry into the corner. He was not able to get out wide enough, so when he came off the corner, the car pushed up the racetrack, and that allowed the 18 car to get underneath.
And all that racing also allowed Rusty Wallace to pull ahead just a little bit and separate himself from the rest of the field. He enjoys about a 1.5 second lead as we are 65 laps into the Brickyard 400. Bobby Labonte is second, then Nadeau, Ricky Rudd, and Bill Elliott.
The Brickyard 400 on ABC Sports, brought to you by Team Monte Carlo. The cars more champions depend on. Chevy, we'll be there. And Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we continue ABC's live coverage of the Brickyard 400. The Pennzoil Copter Cam also providing some overhead shots of this massive facility located about 5.5 miles to the west of downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. There's Rusty Wallace, who has led 40 laps so far. We have had 4 leaders in the first 68 laps of the Brickyard 400. Rusty has led 39, Rudd 17, Nadeau 11, and Compton 1. Regardless of where you are, though, on the racetrack, you battle for position. We saw a perfect example of that just a few moments ago.
Boy, did we ever. Joe Nemechek, the Oakwoods home in the middle between Jeffrey Bodine, the 60, and Michael Waltrip. 3 abreast going down in the corner, and they got to get in line. They got to get down to the inside of the racetrack, and somehow sanity prevailed, and Nemechek got between those 2 cars somehow.
Wallace with a 1.5 second advantage on Bobby Labonte. Rusty Wallace's best finish in the Brickyard 400 was back in 1995. He finished in 2nd position, leading 22 laps of that race. Coming in, he had led a total of 26, so he has surpassed that here today.
See Tony Stewart going by, Jeff Burton. Comes a 1 car of Steve Park, followed by Dale Earnhardt. And there comes Michael Waltrip. You see Chad Little and the 22 car also has been able to get by the 33 car.
Chad started in 39th position and is currently running in 18th, trying to take 17th away from Jeffrey Bodine. Tight 3-car battle here. Jeffrey gives way.
And that is Chad Little's MO almost every racetrack anymore. He and Jeff Hammond have a great race car during the race in this John Deere Ford, but they qualify so poorly. They're always starting in the back and having to work their way forward, and most of the time they're able to do that.
Chad Little in a brand new car this week here at the Brickyard 400. There's Jeffrey Bodine and Darrell Waltrip, a couple of veterans of the Winston Cup Series. Again, Darrell Waltrip, remember, started on the outside of the front row, fallen back now to 19th. Jeffrey Bodine began his NASCAR Winston Cup season at Richmond after the accident in the truck race at Daytona. Chad Little wants the position from Ward Burton.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know that I've seen any car turn any better than Chad Little's as he comes off the corner.
Well, he's about to pass Ward Burton, and Bill has the update on Ward.
Well, Bob Ward's been slipping back through this field since that last pit stop. He's told Tommy Baldwin several times his car is extremely tight. He told him just about a half a lap ago that this car is just very, very tight all over the racetrack. Tommy said they'll try and fix it for him next time they pit, but a tight race car right now for Ward.
Ward is about to lose another position as Darrell Waltrip is to the inside at the end of the backstretch. No question that the clouds are moving in. Now, it was bright sunshine when the race began, and again, rain is forecast, but later this afternoon. But, Ray, these clouds are going to be a very important factor.
Well, Bob, as we've seen all week, this track is very, very temperature sensitive, and right now we're hearing a lot of people complaining of push, and the temperature's cooled off, the clouds are coming, and another thing, the wind's totally changed direction from what it's been here all week. Now the wind's blowing hard across turn 3 and 4, and that's where a lot of guys are complaining of a push.
Wallace enjoys a 1.1 second advantage over Bobby Labonte. We're going to take a break because another sequence of pit stops should be coming up momentarily here at Indianapolis. Less than 4 laps from the halfway point of the 7th annual Brickyard 400 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's bring you up to date on what happened. First caution came out on lap number 15. Mike Skinner makes contact with Mark Martin, sending Mark hard into that first turn wall car, almost overturning. He's okay. Second caution, John Andretti cuts a tire, hits the third turn wall. Appropriately on lap number 43, the 43 car is taken out of the race. Then on lap number 51, a near crash as Kyle Petty and Mike Bliss hit coming off corner number 2. That did not bring out a caution. So the 43 of Andretti, the 6 of Martin, are the only 2 cars out of the race. Ricky Craven is back in the garage area changing shocks. There are 2 cars not on the lead lap. Wally Dallenbach and Brett Bodine. Otherwise, everybody is on the lead lap at the 78 lap mark.
Brett Bodine made a pit stop just a couple of laps ago. One reason he's a lap down. The reason he's a lap down.
Now Rusty does approach some slower traffic and will put Mike Bliss, who is running in the 38th position, a lap down. Mike is in the 27 car. That is Brett Bodine now just ahead of Rusty, and he will be going 2 laps down. Bobby Labonte also able to get to the inside of Mike Bliss. Rusty hung up just a little bit behind Brett, and that's allowed Bobby Labonte to close in.
There's a 3rd place car, Jerry Nadeau. 4th place car, Ricky Rudd. Bill Elliott goes by. Tony Stewart, there's Tony Stewart and Jeff Burton.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Jarrett. Dale Earnhardt running back in the 10th position. And Ward Burton is going to be the first to come in for a pit stop in this sequence. Here's Bill.
And what they're going to try and do here is capitalize on fresh rubber before everybody else, but they do make a track bar adjustment 2 rounds. Remember, Ward has been backsliding through this field. The car just way too tight. Good stop, hang up on the left front, though. That's what they wanted. Looks like it was going to be a good stop. Hung up on the left front. Ward Burton has the freshest tires at the Speedway.
But by capitalizing on those fresh tires, they also might have taken themselves out of a fuel window. They're forcing themselves to get at least 40 laps now to make it to the end of the race if it stays green.
Ward Burton and his family spent the weekend last weekend, their off weekend, at the beach, and then he went to the Republican National Convention in Philadelphia. Back to the office, though, this weekend here at Indianapolis, and Ward Burton stays on that warm-up lane all the way through turn number 2. Then he can blend in with the other traffic. There is Darrell Waltrip, who is in 15th position after starting in 2nd spot. He was in 29th position when we went back to the green flag, so he has moved up nicely since the race went green.
Attaboy, DW trying to close in on his brother, Michael Waltrip. And you see the signal, 80 laps to go. 80 laps down, halfway. He's talking about what Ward Burton did last week. And you know what Rusty Wallace did? Went to Europe and floated around in the Mediterranean.
To Italy, to be exact. That's right. Here is Johnny Benson making a pit stop. The Aaron's Rent Car, new sponsorship on that Pontiac. Here's Ray.
Right side tires are going on, Bob, and as the crew comes back around, they've decided to go with 4 right here by getting to the halfway point. As Ray Evernham said, they'll be close on fuel, but if this track stays green, this could be a big advantage for not only Johnny Benson, also Ward Burton, who came in early.
Kenny Schrader and the M&M's Pontiac making his way out of pit road. Bobby Hamilton and Dale Jarrett also are going to make pit stops. We're a lap past the halfway point, Doc.
Well, the defending champion of the Brickyard 400, Dale Jarrett, brings the quality care Ford Thunderbird down pit road, or Ford Taurus. He should only have to make 1 more pit stop. They could probably have gone about 3 more laps on fuel. Remember what happened 2 years ago, so they're not going to take any chances. They're making an adjustment in the rear of the car. Left side tires going out of the 2-time Brickyard 400 winner's car. Jarrett a little bit tight in the middle of the corner. He is down and away.
Dale Jarrett.
Right down left.
Well, Jerry, this will be a 4-tire stop for Jerry Nadeau, whose car got a little bit too tight. Now, they're going to go down on the left side air pressures because the air temperature has changed here in Indianapolis. They think this car will be a lot better. 4 tires now, and they hope they can get rid of that tight situation. Jerry?
Pole center Ricky Rudd, very tight in the middle of the corner off. They make a wedge adjustment. They have adjusted the air pressure to tires. They will make only 1 more stop around lap 122. Rudd said the car is getting better and better. He's down and away.
Dale Earnhardt also on pit road as the crew goes to work on the right side of that machine. Now quickly around to the other side as the fuel is topped off. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace relinquishes the lead. Bill Weber.
Rusty Wallace has a solid car. This will be 4 tires, and just like last time, 1 round of fight going in to tighten the car up just a tick. Rusty Wallace has never won at Daytona. He's never won at Indianapolis. This could be his biggest day as a race car driver. The 4 tires waiting on the left front, and Rusty returns.
16.9-second pit stop for Rusty Wallace as Dale Earnhardt Jr. now comes to pit road. This car has been strong all day. He was in 6th position. Down comes in for the stop, and the crew goes to work on the right side of the Bud car. Now that yellow line there is the line that marks the outside of the pit box. You can see that the tires are to the outside of the white line, but that doesn't count here at Indy. It's the yellow line, and Earnhardt's away.
See Scott Pruitt, Michael Waltrip leaving pits in. Here's Bobby Labonte. Interstate Batters Pontiac in the pits. Bill Weber.
Another solid run for Bobby Labonte. Slight air pressure change. Exactly the same thing they did on their last stop. The car, the tires, and the track coming to them. A quick stop for the 18 bunch. They worked hard on that during the week.
Mike Skinner comes in, damage there on the left front, but that could be from the incident on lap number 15 with Mark Martin. Jerry?
All right, next to the final pit stop for Mike Skinner, the Larry McReynolds crew go over to work on the car. Right side tires going on. Very critical. They say we've got to get it full of fuel. Very deliberate. First gas can goes away. Second can goes up as they work now left side tires. Trying to get the left front tire on Skinner's car finally off the jack. He is down and away.
Good stop for Mike Skinner. 16 seconds, and the low Chevy is back on track. There's Kevin LePage in the click.com. Ford, he completes his work and moves back out onto the racetrack.
Slowly, 55 miles per hour. He has to maintain that speed limit down pit road. On board the Circuit City on board Bobby Labonte's. He's back on the racetrack down the front stretch, completing yet another lap.
And he is the leader of the race, or is Rusty Wallace now shown as the leader as Bobby Labonte comes right on the rear deck of the Bobby Hamilton car. Yes, Rusty Wallace is the leader by about 1.5 seconds over Jerry Nadeau. We'll be right back.
Brickyard. History.
After a long rain delay in 1995, the defending champion of the race, Jeff Gordon, was the pole sitter and led the 43-car field to the green flag. It was Jeff's 8th pole of 1995. Jeff dominated the race early on, but then Dale Earnhardt was fastest when it counted late in the event. Earnhardt went on to win and pocket a total of $565,000 in purse money. And that year, 1995, Rusty Wallace finished in 2nd position. Here in the year 2000 in the Brickyard 400, Rusty Wallace is the leader by about a half second over Jerry Nadeau.
When Rusty Wallace caught the 12 car driven by Kyle Petty, he really picked up some aero push. He struggled trying to get by, which allowed Jerry Nadeau and the 18 car by Bobby Labonte to close up right on the back of him.
Kyle Petty is a lap down in the 31st position, so 30 cars are on the lead lap at the 90-lap mark. 3 cars are not at the racetrack. John Andretti, Mark Martin taken out in crashes, and Ricky Craven remains behind the wall, although is not officially listed as out of competition. Bobby Labonte in 3rd. He's the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader. Bobby Labonte is very familiar with the city of Indianapolis. Even before he came here to run in the Brickyard 400, he used to race quarter midgets, and they used to be supplied by Ralph Potter, who owned a distributorship of Curtis go-kart quarter midgets just down the street on 16th Street.
Jerry Nadeau gets by Kyle Petty. Bobby Labonte also gets by now. They both seek out trying to catch the 2 car.
Coming up next here on ABC Sports, 12 of the world's top drivers from NASCAR and the Indy Racing Northern Light Series go head-to-head in identical IROC Firebirds. From right here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's race 4 of IROC 24. That's coming up next here on ABC. Average speed of the race so far, 149.092 miles an hour. Rusty Wallace now approaches the 17 car of Matt Kenseth, who is running in 30th spot. Kenseth is leading the Rookie of the Year point standings as we come into the Brickyard 400. We look back up the track a little bit and see Ricky Rudd. And right ahead of him is Bill Elliott, who is running 4th.
These cars are 10 seconds behind the leader, Rusty Wallace. Right now, this thing looks like a 3-car race right now between Rusty Wallace, Jerry Nadeau, and Bobby Labonte.
And Jeff Gordon is running right behind Ricky Rudd, but Jeff is not on the lead lap. He is a lap down in 34th position. That car damaged in the incident early that took out Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon had contact with Rick Mast and spun him around, and there you can see the result of the contact. Damage on the right front of the DuPont Chevy.
So Snoopy did not get to victory lane.
Again, they're commemorating 50 years of Peanuts cartoon characters. Charles Schultz. There's Tony Stewart, who's 6th. Here comes the 7th place car of Jeff Burton.
Wow. Started back in the 33rd position, has worked his way up to 7th.
And Ray Dunlap has a report on pit road.
Well, Benny, it was that very first pit stop where Jeff Burton took on 2 tires, helped give him the track position. But here's what they've been working on. Jeff has been saying that he thinks the car is going into the turn number 2 just a little bit too hard. He said, I think I'm overdriving it. So he called spotter Bobby Hudson and he said, when I get ready to go into turn number 2, tell me to slow down. They did that a couple of laps. He started picking up 3 or 4 tenths on every single lap. So then he called spotter Buddy Parrott and said, do the same thing for me down in turn 4. So the 99 car is slowing down in turn 2 and turn 4, and it's making him go a lot faster. Jeff Burton currently about 17 seconds behind our leader, Rusty Wallace, but he's learning a better way around the racetrack.
Jeff is coming off a second-place finish at Pocono 2 weeks ago and is in a brand-new car here for the Brickyard 400.
It's a good thing he asked the spotter, not the crew chief, because the crew chief keeps telling you to go faster, go faster.
Rusty Wallace still not able to get around Matt Kenseth, who is just ahead in the DeWalt Tools number 17.
And Bobby Labonte has moved into that second spot, getting by Jerry Nadeau.
Now Wallace looks to the inside, entering turn number 3. Still can't make the move. But Kenseth will give him room. And now that's the 77 car of Robert Presley, who is in 29th spot, that Rusty will try to lap next. Speeds anywhere between 167.5 and a little over 169 miles an hour. That last lap, Bobby Labonte was the fastest at 169.103 compared to Rusty, who is, of course, battling a slower car. His lap was only 167.9.
He finally is going, I think, going to get position on Robert Presley. This is right along with Dale Jarrett, who's won this race a couple of times. He's back in the 8th position, and right behind that dark car, the Goodrich Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt.
The lap car of Mike Bliss, number 27. Earnhardt passes, and right now DJ's got a good run, Jerry.
Indeed he does, Bob. If you're wondering why we haven't heard more from the defending and two-time Brickyard 400 champion, it's because it's a wave of the green flag. He has been very, very tight. Here's what all they've done to the car. They have basically adjusted the track bar 4.5 rounds. They've taken 5 rounds of wedge out, and they've adjusted the air pressure 7 pounds. And guess what? He's still tight. He's still complaining of being tight. They cannot get the car freed up.
On board with Bobby Labonte, and you can see how close he is to the leader, Rusty Wallace, just up front. They pass by Elliott Sadler. Now come up on Sterling Marlin, who's in 27th spot.
Ray and most everyone that does this job, we keep talking about arrow push, and that's what we're talking about. When Rusty Wallace pulls up behind the 40 car, well, this time he gets a run on down the straight and gets position and goes by.
But if you notice, Benny, he timed his move. He needed to get his nose underneath that car before they got to the corner, and he had to turn.
Meanwhile, Labonte had to pass Marlin coming out of the first corner. We're nearing the 100 lap mark with Rusty Wallace showing the way at Indy. Several aircraft flying over the Brickyard 400 and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and among them the Pennzoil Copter Cam, providing us these overhead shots. And we're watching Rusty Wallace on the left and Bobby Labonte on the right. First and second, as 100 laps have now been completed. And the winner in 3 of the 6 races has not led until after lap 100. Well, tomorrow, ABC Sports brings you the excitement of Major League Soccer. The first place New York, New Jersey Metro Stars travel to the Windy City to take on the Fire. Tomorrow live at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, here on ABC.
As you see the leaders go by, Rusty, Bobby Labonte, there, Jerry Nadeau. And see the McDonald's car, Bill Elliott. He is really getting around this racetrack. Ray, how much distance has he made up on the leaders?
He's made up over 2 seconds. He's gaining about 0.3 of a second a lap. So whatever they've done in that car, I hope they've got another set of tires just like that set.
That speed that you see there, 168.735, was the fastest among the top 6 compared to Rusty Wallace's 167.776 last lap. Jerry Punch.
Just spoke a moment ago to Eddie DeHaan down here in the Bill Elliott pits. Exactly what you guys were talking about. Bill said the car's been loose in 1 and 2 and tight in 3 and 4. They've been adjusting on it. On their last stop, they took a half a pound of air, put a half a pound of air in the left front tire. Now Bill came on the radio and said, guys, the car is getting better and better. Before this one's over, we are going to make a run at it.
Elliott's best finish at a Brickyard 400 was the inaugural running, third. He finished fourth in 95 and has had a couple of other top 10 finishes, 10th in 96 and 8th in 97. There's our pole sitter, Ricky Rudd, who is in fifth, almost 9 seconds behind the leader. Back in the 14th and 15th positions, Michael Waltrip and the 90 car of Hut Strickland. And Strickland continues to impress.
There's Dale Earnhardt going by. Stacy Compton, Mike Skinner, Scott Pruitt, who's having a great run. And pretty soon we're going to see, that's Darrell Waltrip. And there comes a 90 car. Hut Strickland has that great run going. Jeffrey Bodine and Michael Waltrip. Joe Nemechek. These guys are running 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th.
Michael Waltrip in the number 7 car there led the cheers when his brother Darrell turned in that outstanding qualifying run in first round and ended up on the outside of the front row. But Michael was on pit road leading the cheers and hugged his brother when he got out of the car.
That was a very special moment, Bob.
Quite an emotional moment.
By the way, that Nation's Rent number 7, the black and yellow car, they announced a couple of weeks ago, in case you missed it, that Jimmy Smith is going to change his team to Ford automobiles next year from the Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Penske Engines has agreed to be the engine supplier for them next year. And Michael Waltrip is back as the driver and Bobby Kennedy as the crew chief.
Michael started 5th and finished 27th in last year's Brickyard 400. This year is in 16th at the end of 105 laps. There is Joe Nemechek. For those of you just tuning in, Terry Labonte abandoned the number 5 Kellogg's Monte Carlo after 655 consecutive starts. The injury that he received at Daytona just won't go away. He's having dizzy spells, and he just didn't feel like he could start today's Brickyard 400. And so Todd Bodine qualified the car and is driving it here in the race. He's currently in 19th position.
And behind we see the Todd Bodine car is Brett Bodine, the 11 car, the Ralph's Supermarket Ford, and he's had all kinds of problems today, hasn't he, Ray?
Well, he really has, Benny, and he's had to come into the pits twice now for green flag stop because the car is so tight. He says it just cannot turn at all in the center of the corner. So they came in, made some major adjustments. He went back out. He only ran 15 laps before he had to come back in again. So when you do that and you pit under green, for sure you're going to lose a lap. I think Brett's lost 2 or maybe even 3 now. So a tough day for the Ralph Supermarket Ford.
He is 2 laps down, running back in 40th position. 3 cars, again, not on the racetrack. Ricky Craven, John Andretti, and Mark Martin. But everybody else is still out there with 106 of 160 laps completed. There are the first 2, Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte. They are running about 3.5 seconds behind the 3rd place car of Jerry Nadeau.
You mean in front of?
In front of.
And just lapped the 10 car of Johnny Benson. Benson is now in the 22nd spot, 21 cars now in the lead lap.
Well, here's the 14 car of Rick Mast, and he was involved in that incident on the 15th lap that eliminated Mark Martin. Rick Mast driving the Conseco sponsored car owned by A.J. Foyt. Rick Mast, the pole sitter in the inaugural Brickyard 400. Here today, things have not gone well for him. He's running in 39th position, a lap down.
And you can can see that things aren't going too well because he only turned about 8,300 RPMs, and most of these guys turning about 9,000 down this straightaway.
And you hear the RPM down in the engine, but you know what? I saw a top speed of almost 190 miles an hour there, and the back of that car is all tore up. It's hard to go in the corner that fast with your spoiler knocked out of the air.
And Ray, there's one other thing with Rick Mast. The left rear is torn up, so the crush panel got completely removed there when the crew started working on it. So he's got all that air going up on the inside of the back of the race car, and they had to use a ton of duct tape just to try to hold the rear deck lid down. Rick said it's been a handful all day long.
Rick is coming off an 8th place finish at Pocono 2 weekends ago, but this is what happened to him. Now that's Martin going up and hitting the wall, but watch Jeff Gordon tag the rear end of Rick Mast, sending him into a spin there in the first turn. That's how the damage occurred on Jeff Gordon's car also. 108 laps completed here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. More after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Six runnings so far of the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. The inaugural event was won by Jeff Gordon. In 1995, Dale Earnhardt. Dale Jarrett has won twice here at Indy, as has Jeff Gordon, and Ricky Rudd also has tasted victory at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Who will it be in 2000? At the moment, Rusty Wallace leads the race with 112 laps completed, but right behind him is Bobby Labonte. A reminder that coming up here on ABC Sports, 12 of the world's top drivers from NASCAR and the Indy Racing Northern Light Series go at it in the 4th and final event of IROC 24 here at Indianapolis. ABC's Jack Arute provides all the happenings at the track online at abcsports.com. Down to Bill Weber.
Well, we've watched Bobby Labonte close in on Rusty Wallace, and here's why. Bobby was being very careful with his right front tire after the last pit stop. But after they checked the tires, they saw that the wear was more on the right rear than it was on the right front. So crew chief Jimmy Makar told Bobby, you do have a margin for error. You can go ahead and push it a little bit. And that's when he started closing in on Rusty Wallace. As for his teammate, the 20 car, Tony Stewart, his car is getting tighter and tighter on entry every lap. They've played with air pressure today. They've also made a track bar and a wedge adjustment. They're going to try and make another adjustment when he comes back in. That's the story on the Gibbs cars.
Well, Rusty Wallace continues to lead, and on lap number 100, 14 laps ago, Rusty became the first driver to lead 1,000 laps in the year 2000. Second place on the most laps led chart for the year 2000 is Tony Stewart, and he has only led 523.
And Bill Elliott just moved into that 3rd spot, able to get by Jerry Nadeau. And Elliott right now just a tick over 5 seconds behind Rusty Wallace. It was 9 seconds not too long ago.
Jerry Punch.
The crew have told Bill Elliott, according to lap times, you are running times faster than the 2 leaders, Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte. They've got one more pit stop coming on lap 120, 6 laps away. The crew knows from listening to Bill, if they don't make a mistake, get him in and out with no changes, Bill says, we can win this one here today. They are pumped up down here in the McDonald's pit.
But right now, at the front of the field, Wallace and Bobby Labonte.
I think that Bobby Labonte, if he were able to get by Rusty Wallace, could drive away from him. But it just goes to show you how tough it is to pass these cars with the aerodynamics. Once again, Bobby Labonte, the green car, following the 2 car, does not get that full complement of air to push that nose of the car down. He comes off the corner, he picks up that aero push, cannot get back on the gas to drive under and off the way from Rusty Wallace.
Elliott is in 3rd. Moments ago, this is how he got into 3rd position, passing Jerry Nadeau. We're on board with him.
Down the backstretch, turn 3, in the draft. Really getting a good run in the draft. He goes in the corner. goes right down low and comes somehow turns that car and comes off the corner alongside Nadu. That was a great move.
So Bill now 5.8 seconds behind this duo. And there it is in terms of the racetrack itself. It's Johnny Benson just ahead of Elliott. Benson is in 22nd position, a lap down.
But you see that lap traffic has actually slowed the 94 car down a little bit. Benny, I think it's a little bit more even than downforce. I believe that turbulence, all that turbulent air actually slows the second car down.
Do you?
There's the 6th place car, the Home Depot Pontiac driven by Tony Stewart. And right behind him in hot pursuit is Jeff Burton. With Tony Stewart, who's in a brand new car this week here at Indy. The team did test with this car during the open testing period. The top 5, 117 laps completed. We have had pit stops here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We have also had a change of lead. Bobby Labonte is in the lead. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Final scheduled pit stop for 44-year-old Bill Elliott. Awesome Bill, a 14-time most popular driver. No adjustment, they peel away the windshield. The tires they are putting on have a touch more stagger than what they've had before. Left side tires going on. Bill thinks the car is getting better and better. They believe they got the shot. Great pit stop, and Elliott's away.
Jerry's sitting there changing 4 tires on the Ford Quality Care. Here comes Rusty Wallace for his final pit stop.
Jared is away. Rusty still coming down to Bill Weber.
And this should be the final pit stop for Rusty Wallace, who drives for Roger Penske, who is here at the track watching in on the radio. This will be 4 tires and 1 round of bite out. They put 2 rounds of bite in over the last 2 stops. This time it's 1 round out. Waiting on the left side tires to go on. Rusty Wallace hoping his chance in Indianapolis is today.
Final pit stop for the 7th-time Winston Cup champion and former winner of the Brickyard 400. Earnhardt been battling a tight condition all day. The car would not turn. It has finally gotten a little bit better. Still not to where he would like to have it, but Earnhardt will drive the wheels off for these final 39 laps. Good pit stop so far. Right side tire going very quickly. They clean the windshield. Left front, left rear. They've got to get it full of fuel. Out of the way for the Goodrich crew. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Bobby Labonte on pit road here for what will be his final stop. They tear away the plastic coating on the windshield so he'll have a better view. Right side tires are on. He told Jimmy Makar if the conditions stay the way they have been, don't change a thing. This team believes they're going to victory lane. Labonte on his way.
Look at that, 14.5. You talk about pressure. These guys, tremendous pressure. They pull off the pit stop of their life.
Rusty Wallace comes down the front straightaway.
18 cars on a pit exit. Who is going to win the race off turn 2? There we see Bobby Labonte. Can Rusty Wallace get in front of him?
We're on board with Bobby looking back. Remember, he has to stay in that warm-up lane until he gets to the 2nd corner, and then he can blend in with traffic. It looks like that he may be able to get out ahead of him. He did.
Rusty Wallace is down behind Bobby. Oh, no. Rusty's going to try to drive on the outside.
At the end of the backstretch, Wallace retakes the lead on lap 123.
Wow. Oh, here comes Bobby Labonte back. They know that right now track position, being in front is so critical. Rusty holds him off.
Labonte had to back off as Rusty maintains the advantage. Off of the 4th corner, down the front straightaway they come. To maintain the lead. You can see there are dark clouds gathering around the speedway. We've been told that there may be some weather before the end of the race. Less than 40 laps remain, however.
Spencer right in front of Rusty Wallace, a 2-car.
Spencer running in 20th position. He is the last car on the lead lap.
Spencer wants to stay in front of Rusty Wallace. Rusty drives down. Boy, Rusty gets a great run at the end of the straightaway, but Spencer comes down and blocks that move.
A lot of traffic ahead for Wallace. Now he'll try it again.
Oh, and Jimmy Spencer's trying to drive on the inside of Rick Mast at the same time. Rusty's trying to drive on the inside. The leader is 3 wide for just a second.
And Bobby Labonte will also make it 3 wide for a moment, but he is able to pass both. And so Wallace and Labonte now have no cars between them.
And meanwhile, Bill Elliott is just 4 seconds behind these front 2 cars. If these guys get racing too hard, I think that Elliott can move up and catch him.
He was a little over 5 seconds behind him before the pit stop, so they've either gained on the track or those guys down in the 94 crew had a great stop. Less than 4 seconds now, Benny.
These overhead shots courtesy of the Pennzoil Copter Cam. Circling over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Comes on Michael Waltrip, who is running in 17th spot. We'll try to put him a lap down. Rusty has led more laps than any other driver in the year 2000 and is the only driver to lead 4 different times. There is now the Michael Waltrip car going a lap down, and Labonte will try to get by in the short chute and will.
Pretty good ways between Rusty Wallace and the next car, Steve Park, the Pennzoil car. So it looks like Rusty for 5 or 10 laps will have clear racetrack in front of him.
There hasn't been much attrition in this race. Only Mark Martin, John Andretti, who crashed, and Ricky Craven, who dropped out with mechanical problems, are out of this event. 40 cars are running with 126 laps completed. But Rusty Wallace has been in the lead for 91 laps, and he remains there, leading Bobby Labonte, Bill Elliott, Jerry Nadeau, and Tony Stewart.
The Brickyard 400 on ABC Sports, brought to you by Original Coors. When you're an original, you do it your own way. Original Coors. And Citgo. You love racing, we love racing.
Great overhead shot of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The year 2000 marks the 75th anniversary for the Goodyear blimp. Since 1925, millions have watched Goodyear's airships while they hover over special events. Today, it's the spirit of Goodyear carrying on that proud tradition. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Benny Parsons, Ray Evernham, Ray Dunlap, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch, as we're less than 30 laps away from the end of the 7th annual Brickyard 400, and it's Rusty Wallace leading over Bobby Labonte, but by just a few feet.
He caught the 1 car, Steve Park, a little quicker than I thought he would.
Park is in 16th position, about to go a lap down, and the 4 car of Bobby Hamilton comes to pit road.
I think that he blew up, Bob, because, yeah, they're going under the hood. When he came by the last time, it did not sound very good at all. Had that rather disgusting sound of an engine not running well.
Hamilton's best finish here at Indy was in '95. He came home 11th. Last year, he finished in 38th. There's Steve Park in the Pennzoil sponsored car, again in 16th spot. Only 2 caution periods in the race today. Only been under caution for 7 laps. The average speed is 153.481 at this point. 5 different leaders besides Wallace, Rudd, Nadeau, Bobby Labonte, and Stacy Compton. Wallace has led 97 laps to this point.
You know, Bobby Labonte, the 18 car, back in second spot. He's the leader of the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings, and a very slim lead. But look at here. He is trying to win this race. I talked about that at the very top of the show. These guys, I think, want to win the Brickyard 400 more. It's more than a points race. They want to win. And I think Labonte will do whatever he can to win the race. He won't forget about the points, but winning is going to be the ultimate thing that he wants to do. And there's a battle for the 3rd spot. Bill Elliott and Jerry Nadeau. It looks like on this set of tires that Nadeau is a little bit better than Bill Elliott.
Jerry Nadeau is having one of the best races of a NASCAR Winston Cup career. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bob, here's the situation. Throughout the day today, they've made numerous changes on the 25 car to try to loosen it up a little bit. Everyone's been tight. But every time they make a change, it gets a little bit cooler here, and the cloud cover comes around. So that tightens the car back up. Well, on the last pit stop, they made some major changes to the number 25, and Jerry said it's much, much better now. He's caught right up to Bill Elliott here, and so far, they're the fastest Chevrolet. Now, whether they have a shot to get up there with the 2 and the 18, I don't know, but it's been a pretty good day for the young driver from Connecticut.
Indeed, it was just 2 races ago that Nadeau recorded his best NASCAR Winston Cup career finish, 4th at New Hampshire. That's where he is running right now.
The problem they've got right now, if Nadeau is faster than Elliott, and Bill Elliott we know is faster than 97 car of Chad Little, but he can't get by him. Chad Little just finally feels sorry for Bill. Bill moves over and lets him go by, because once you pull him behind those cars, passing becomes awfully difficult.
So Nadeau is running in the 4th position, and the 5th placed runner is Tony Stewart, running about 12.5 seconds behind the leader.
And the guy that has lost some ground in the last 30, 40 laps has been Ricky Rudd, who ran 5th for a long, long time. He's now back to the 7th spot as Jeff Burton has moved into 6th.
As a matter of fact, Jeff Burton was the fastest among the top 6 that last lap at 168.843. Jeff Burton in the Exide Ford.
And there's Ricky Rudd that I was talking about that has fallen back to 7th position now. 36 car, Kenny Schrader. He's a lap down.
And here comes the defending NASCAR Winston Cup champion, Dale Jarrett, who is in 8th position. On board with Dale.
Next car in position is Dale Earnhardt, the Goodwrench Chevrolet.
And right behind him is his teammate, Mike Skinner, in 10th position. He's about 6 seconds actually behind Earnhardt.
See Elliott Sadler with a hand out the window telling Mike Skinner, go on the inside. I will not go down and run you on the grass. And he did.
Well, the laps are winding down. 136 of 160 complete. More after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard 400, Rusty Wallace continues to lead Bobby Labonte. Down to Bill Weber.
With crew chief Jimmy Maycar. Jimmy, what's your weather forecast, and can you catch Rusty?
Well, if I could forecast weather, I'd have a different job, that's for sure. But it doesn't look very good right now. Everybody telling us the rain's not far away, but it's going to be iffy if it comes before the end of the race or not. So we're guessing it's going to go the full distance, and right now we're trying to wear Rusty down. Bobby's got a pretty good race car. Problem is, it's so difficult to pass here when you get up behind somebody that takes aerodynamic downforce off the car, and the car slides a little too much. So we kind of got to wait for Rusty to make a little mistake and capitalize on it. I think if we can ever get by him, we'll be okay.
See what happens. Here's Dr. Jerry Fine.
With Bill Elliott, crew chief Kevin Graham. Kevin, what have you told Bill about the weather?
We told him there's scattered showers about 10 minutes out. Trying to get him to get after a little bit. 25's closed on us a little bit. 18 car's really good. We're as good as the 2. If we catch that caution during this rain, we'll have a good shot at it.
So you think you may have a shot to reel in the front 2? Do you think you got a good shot at him?
I don't think we'll reel him in from here, but if we catch a caution here, the way these guys been putting the pit stops out, and this McDonald's crew, they're awesome. We can get out in front of them, hold it off.
All right, that's Kevin Graham in the Bill Elliott pit. Let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry Nadeau started 23rd today, so these guys have made up a lot of progress. Tony, you've got a great car today. Can you pass Bill Elliott and get the best career finish for Jerry yet today?
I don't know. We're going to sure try. I tell you, it's so hard to pass out there. These cars are dependent on the air on the front of the nose so bad that it's really tough to pass. If we could get out front, we'd probably be the fastest thing here. But, you know, it's just a hard deal. It's you've got to get yourself in the right position. And I think Jerry can do it. I really believe he can do it. He's working as hard out today. These guys have given good pit stops. The engine shop has given us real good motors. Just can't really say enough about what Jerry and his guys have done.
Well, these guys have done a lot of adjusting today here, and Jerry Nadeau's having a great run.
Indeed he is, still running in the 4th position, about 8 seconds behind the leader. But Benny, not too far behind Elliott, Ray.
And Benny, we were afraid we were making too big of a deal out of the Arrow, but it is a big deal. Almost everybody that they've talked to has talked about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it looks like that Nadeau right now, he's just kind of waiting for one strong run. I would think that right now he's just trying to cool his tires, trying to get himself ready for one huge run to try to catch Bill Elliott and get by him.
You've got to be able to get that run and get the nose out from behind that car to get it to turn into the corner.
And see Dale Earnhardt taking a spot away from Ricky Rudd.
That moves Earnhardt up to 8th spot, and Rudd, the pole sitter, drops back to 9th.
And these clouds are moving. It is getting darker and darker, so that means it's getting cooler and cooler on this racing surface, which makes these cars tighter and tighter.
We talked about the huge purse up for grabs here today, $6.5 million. We also talked about the fact that some drivers would probably race here for nothing. If Bobby Labonte can win the race, he will also win the Winston leader bonus, which is up to $190,000. That goes to the Winston Cup points leader if he can also win the race. Right now, Labonte is 2nd, but just behind Rusty Wallace, who has led 109 of the 143 laps completed at Indy. The battle up front is an intense one. Bobby Labonte has grabbed the lead from Rusty Wallace, but Wallace just won't give up.
Now he's going to have the same problem that Bobby Labonte's had for so long. Get in that air pressure, get in that, losing that air pressure on the nose. Here's how it happened coming off the corner. And watch as they go down the straightaway. Rusty Wallace not wanting to give up, trying to fight back. Contact. And Bobby Labonte, the right front and the left rear of Rusty Wallace, but Labonte makes that move down in turn 1.
And that pass comes with less than 14 laps to go. They come down to complete lap number 147, 13 to go in the Brickyard 400. And now Labonte seems to be able to pull away a little bit from Rusty.
Is Bobby Labonte this fast, or is Rusty something wrong with Rusty's car? Maybe it's just the fact that Bobby Labonte's car is that fast.
What he's going to have to watch out for now is that he didn't damage that right front tire. He doesn't have that fender rubbing on it.
That's what I was concerned about. Possible cut in that right front tire on the 18 car.
Bobby Labonte took the points lead after Darlington, lost it at Talladega, then retook it at California, and has been in the points lead ever since. Now we have 12 laps to go, and we understand that rain may be about 15 minutes away, so hopefully we're going to get the 12 laps in under green, and we can settle this thing without a shower.
Last time by, Bobby Labonte ran 168 miles per hour. That is a full mile per hour faster than anyone else in the top 6 cars.
The third place car is driven by Bill Elliott, who is 7.5 seconds behind Bobby Labonte. And then comes Jerry Nadeau. Running fourth, Nadeau has led 11 laps in this 7th running of the Brickyard. Continuing to run in the 5th position is hometown favorite Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart is 15 seconds behind Bobby Labonte, the leader.
And then about 6 seconds behind Stewart is the 99 car of Jeff Burton. He's 6th. Burton started this race in the middle of the field, but has come on nicely to run up in the top 10.
There's Dale Jarrett. He's currently in the 7th spot.
There's Jeff Gordon with his damaged car. He celebrated a birthday yesterday. Here is Dale Earnhardt, who is shown in the 8th spot. The 9th position is the 31 car of Mike Skinner. A couple of lap cars there. Dave Blaney and Ted Musgrave. Here comes the Lowe's Chevrolet, driven by Mike Skinner, running in the 9th spot.
He's been able to get by Ricky Rudd, the pole sitter.
We're on record pace here. The average today, 155.223. That's better than the record race average.
And Scott Pruitt, the tide ride, just got by Ricky Rudd to move in 10th spot. This would be his first top 10 in NASCAR Winston Cup racing if he can just stay there. I believe it'd be his first top 10.
Yeah, his career best finish came at Daytona, the very first race that he competed in the Winston Cup Series, 19th. Jerry, how about Ricky Rudd?
Well, just talked to the crew a moment ago. They think they might have made a mistake on that final pit stop. They just changed 2 tires, hoping it would loosen Ricky up a little bit and free him up. It really hasn't helped the car as far as helping some of the car to turn in the corner, but the car now is just slipping and sliding everywhere, so he's obviously losing spots on the racetrack. Tough break for our pole sitter.
Well, Darrell Waltrip certainly had high hopes coming into the Brickyard 400. Starting second, he had hoped that he could perhaps pull off a big victory here in his victory tour year. He's not going to go into victory lane today, but it does have to be somewhat of a victory for Darrell Waltrip, who is currently 12th.
This weekend is a big victory for Darrell Waltrip.
And it looks like that Ward Burton has signaled for Darrell to go right ahead. So Waltrip will go to 11th. There's the 13th place car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., who ran up amongst the leaders in the early going, but has fallen back now to the 13th spot in the Budweiser Chevy.
22 car of Ward Burton. We saw Darrell Waltrip going by. He's back in the 28th spot. He's a lap down. Next car behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. is Jeffrey Bodine, the 60 car, and he's not that far behind. About a half second behind Junior.
The last car on the lead lap is Hut Strickland, driving the Junie Donlevy car. There is Hut, and this is also a big victory for Hut.
This is his first ride in the car. Junie Donlevy kind of cleaned house. Got rid of the driver, the crew chief.
First start of the year 2000 also.
And right behind is the leader, Bobby Labonte, and he's pulled away from Rusty Wallace by over 2 seconds.
And there will be 6 laps to go when he crosses the stripe next time. ABC Sports presents an NFL preseason special. Steve Air McNair and the Titans look to avenge last year's heartbreaking Super Bowl loss as they face league MVP Kurt Warner and the Rams. St. Louis versus Tennessee next Monday. It's an early start now at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific on ABC. Bill Weber has a report on Rusty Wallace.
Well, Bob, often you can tell a driver's frustration by the tone of his voice on the radio. But you can also tell it when you don't hear anything on the radio, and that's been the case with Rusty Wallace. He hasn't said a word to his crew in the last several laps. But on the previous run, late in that run, the car got tighter and tighter. Just a tick, but it was enough. Remember, Bobby Labonte got by him, and Jimmy Makar said, we're waiting, hoping to wear him out. That appears to be the situation here. The two cars just a little bit tight. Labonte's car got better.
You see his last lap speed of 166.5. Labonte ran 168.5. Rusty realizes now with 5 laps to go, unless some miracle happens, he will not win his first Brickyard 400.
Bobby Labonte has posted runner-up finishes here in 97 and 99, finished 3rd in 98. If he can hold on for less than 5 laps, he will be the next to write his name in the record books here at the world's greatest race course as winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. With his brother on the sidelines, there we see Ricky Rudd making a pit stop. With his brother on the sidelines, Labonte is in command of this race, and Ricky Rudd headed for pit road here with just less than 4 laps to go.
Well, my guess is by changing 2 tires, trying to get some track position, they did not put all the fuel in the car he needed to go to the end of the race.
It's going to cost him dearly as far as the final standings are concerned. He's probably going to drop back to about 14th position. Rudd now has the gas necessary to complete the distance. Strickland, the last car on the lead lap, is not too far from going a lap down. But the big story is that there's only 3 more laps to go for Bobby Labonte. And here's Stacy Compton making a late race pit stop. This is the driver that started back in 43rd position but did lead a lap in his first Brickyard 400. Melling, the owner of this car, is not in attendance here in Indianapolis today. He's attending a wedding, his own in Michigan.
Congratulations, Mark. Wish you could have been here at the race, but some things are more important.
Labonte up in the north end of the racetrack.
Looks like Kenny Wallace might be out of gasoline or something. The Square D car was slow between 3 and 4.
He's running in 29th position. Now just 5 miles from victory is Bobby Labonte. What a season it has been for Bobby Labonte so far. He could be the NASCAR Winston Cup points champion for the year 2000. And he is a lap and a half away from being the winner of the Brickyard 400 in the year 2000.
Ricky Rudd, with that unscheduled pit stop, or that final pit stop, it probably wasn't unscheduled, has fallen back to the 21st position.
The white flag, one more tour of the 2.5-mile oval at Indianapolis.
Man, oh man, how excited that Bobby Labonte must be inside that Interstate Batteries Pontiac.
And how nervous Jimmy Makar and those guys must be down there on pit road. They're just saying, please, please, please come back around.
Remember last week at Pocono, 2 weeks ago, Jeremy Mayfield about this spot was leading the race, did not get back to the line in front. Got a flat tire in turn 3. Labonte does not suffer that same fate. Easily through 3 into turn 4.
He is in his 244th career start in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. But he is about to register perhaps his biggest victory of all. Bobby Labonte from Corpus Christi, Texas wins the 7th Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. The cars cross the line. Rusty Wallace will be second, about 4 seconds behind Elliott. Edges Nadeau.
I see Tony Stewart coming across the line in 5th position.
Sixth spot is going to go to Jeff Burton. A huge celebration going on in the Interstate Batteries team. Well, 4 came into this event with their names etched in the bricks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, and Ricky Rudd. And now Bobby Labonte is the most recent to gain fame and win the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. We'll talk with him in a moment. The celebration of the Interstate Batteries team. Their driver, Bobby Labonte, has just won the Brickyard 400, the largest margin of victory ever at this race, 4.23 seconds over Rusty Wallace. Here's Jerry Punch in victory lane.
And a huge hug from his wife, Donna, as 36-year-old Bobby Labonte from Corpus Christi, Texas, has won the 7th running of the Brickyard 400. And Bobby, as he gets a shower from his teammate, Tony Stewart, and a huge congratulatory hug and high five as Tony comes from the back of the car. Bobby, what an outstanding effort as the crew now continue to hug. Here's Jimmy Maycar, the crew chief. You think this race doesn't mean a whole lot? My goodness. Bobby, what an effort. You and Rusty those final few laps, but once you got by, you were gone.
Well, I tell you what, I can't think of a better day right here. This Interstate Batteries Pontiac was awesome all day. Crew did a great job in the pits. I can't think of a better day. I rode around with Darrell Waltrip on the pace lap. I got him to sign my hat. My brother, I wish he was out there. He missed his first race today and a lot of races, but to start up a lot more. And to beat a great driver like Rusty Wallace was just awesome. These guys did a great job. Been close here, just come up this time, and got to thank all these guys, Jimmy Maycar, Joe Gibbs, and everybody on the Interstate Pontiac. Again, it's just a great day. Rusty Wallace put up a great fight, and I was better than him in turn 2, and just at times I can outrun him a little bit better than some other times. I got by him and gave me a big shove, I guess, and it helped me out.
Well, Bobby, we've got a trophy to present to you. Let's bring in the president and CEO of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Anton H. Tony George. And Tony, for the presentation of the Silver Brick.
Congratulations, Bobby. Congratulations to you and everyone on the Interstate Battery team.
Thanks, Tony. It's great. This is one of those races that you dream about, and I've been dreaming about it a long time. And Tony Stewart made sure I remember when I kissed those bricks, or who's your bricks. So anyway, I'm excited about it. I can't believe it. It's just a great day. Again, a lot of things happened this week. Just glad it turned out like this.
His car owner has won the Super Bowl 3 times, the Daytona 500 once, and now Joe Gibbs owns a win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. His driver, Bobby Labonte, in victory lane.
It's Labonte's second win of 2000 and his 14th NASCAR Winston Cup career win, and it came in his 244th start. We have a lot more from here at Indianapolis, but coming up later here on ABC Sports, the 4th and final race of IROC 24, the International Race of Champions, as we decide the champion for this season. That's next on ABC. We'll be right back. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, ABC Sports proud to bring you live coverage of the Brickyard 400, and ABC Sports is online at abcsports.com. We have seen Bobby Labonte drive to victory here this afternoon, giving Pontiac its first win here at the Brickyard and the 6th win for Pontiac in 2000. And there's the ceremonial kissing of the bricks by the Interstate Batteries team. Let's visit with the second place finisher. Here's Bill.
Rusty Wallace is able to smile. You just got a handshake from Roger Penske. You thought this was going to be your day at Indy. What happened at the end?
Well, I was just a little too tight when the clouds came over. We made an adjustment that last pit stop to take the push out of it. And to tell you the truth, I was just too tight going into turn 3 and exiting turn 3. And that's where Bobby got me. And I knew if he was going to get me anywhere, that was going to be the spot because I was weak there all day long. But I was super strong getting off of turn 4 and super strong down the straightaways and into turn 1. But, you know, second's pretty good, but you know, when you get that close, it's pretty hard to smile, isn't it? So I almost won this thing back in 94, 95 and got a second out of it. And today, I can't hold my head too low to lead it to halfway, to lead to most laps, and come home second was a pretty good run for Team Penske, and I was real proud of everybody. Pit stops were phenomenal, and the horsepower, what can I say? It was a lot of fun.
Great run. We'll see you at Watkins Glen.
I'll be there.
That is Rusty Wallace. Meanwhile, the winner, Bobby Labonte, is taking the ceremonial lap around the racetrack, saluting the fans. Well, as far as the point standings are concerned, everybody in the top 8 of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series stayed the same. The only change came at the bottom of the listings. Ricky Rudd moved up a position to 9th, and Mark Martin down 1 to 10th position. Jared is now 87 points behind Bobby.
This Wide World Sports Update brought to you by Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One. Here now, Robin Roberts.
And in just a moment, we will return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for more reaction to Bobby Labonte taking this year's Brickyard 400. That is straight ahead. First of all, it's never too early to talk about college football. Come on, it is August. The Associated Press released its top 25 poll, and number 1 to start the season will be Nebraska. The defending national champion Florida State Seminoles start number 2, Bama 3, Wisconsin 4, followed by Miami. Michigan, one of 7 Big Ten teams in the top 25. Texas is 7th. Kansas State 8th. Florida, one of 3 SEC teams in the top 10. And Georgia is number 10. And for the first time since 1986, Notre Dame is not a part of the AP top 25. To baseball now, and Will Clark has been on a tear since coming over from the Orioles to the St. Louis Cardinals. That game with the Braves now has moved to the top of the 9th, and the Cardinals are leading the Braves 5-0. Will Clark with a 2-run shot today. He has 3 homers, has driven in 5 runs in 4 games as a St. Louis Cardinal. Welcome back, Mr. Everett. Carl Everett returns from a 10-game suspension for the Red Sox. Got into a little shouting match with Jimmy Williams before the game. Top of the 9th right now. Boston is leading KC, or trailing KC 7-4. That is our Wide World of Sports mobile update. More later. Back to the Brickyard 400 right after this. Stay with us.
The Brickyard 400 on ABC Sports, brought to you by Team Monte Carlo. The cars more champions depend on. Chevy will be there. Goodyear, #1 in tires. And Pepsi, the choice of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And our thanks to the Spirit of Goodyear blimp, which has been circling over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for providing the aerial shots and helping us cover today's Brickyard 400 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A reminder that coming up next, we'll see who wins the IROC Championship this year, the 4th and final event of IROC 24, coming up next here on ABC Sports. Well, Bobby Labonte, Joe Gibbs, the car owner, Jimmy Makar, the crew chief, and Norm Miller, the president of Interstate Batteries, joined the other members of the Interstate Batteries crew in kissing the bricks and making it official. Bobby Labonte wins at Indy. Let's take a look at the final results. By the way, we had a record average speed here, 155.918, and several had their best finish of 2000 or equaled it. Dale Jarrett had his 11th straight top 10. Bill Elliott equaled his best of 2000. So did Jerry Nadeau. And Scott Pruitt also recorded a top 10 finish. So, guys, it's over for another year.
Yes, it is, Bob. And sometimes a lot of things happen to a guy can pull into victory lane. But I think that today, the best car won the race.
It was good. Indy's always a classic duel between two cars. Today it was Rusty and Bobby.
And we had the fewest Brickyard DNFs, 4 this year. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill Elliott tied his best run here at the Brickyard, finishing third today. Was there anything you could have done that car to make it just a little bit better?
Well, we needed to have been just a little bit different there the last run, but you know, you let too much distance get on those guys, and that was it. You know, I made some good time on them the run before, but then the last run, they got some traffic between us, and the track got cooler, and I just kept getting a little farther off and could never make no time up on those guys.
This season's been a bit of a roller coaster. 4 of your last 5 races have been 30th or worse. Is this a confidence builder?
Well, the thing of it is we've been running better than what our finishes reflect. And I mean, if we'd been running bad and finishing bad, it'd be a different deal. But I think today solidifies kind of what this team's all about. And at least we can come out of here and get to some of the races we run pretty good at and see if we can't keep putting things together a little bit better.
Third place today for the McDonald's Ford.
Back in victory lane, Joe Gibbs. There have been Super Bowls, there have been Daytona 500s, and now Indianapolis. How does this rate?
There's nothing bigger than this. We have ball today. I want to thank everybody back there at home. It was a total team effort. Everybody back at the shop and everything. Obviously, Bobby, fantastic. Jimmy, everybody here, including the 20-car guys, everybody took a great team effort. Lord bless us with a great day, and we're just absolutely thrilled. We're having a ball, believe me. We kissed bricks. If I got any bricks on my lips here?
You look great.
We kissed those bricks, believe me.
Okay, Joe Gibbs, the celebration continues in victory lane. Let's go back to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thanks, Doc. A lot of great news today. You're the best Chevy. You led the Brickyard 400, and next week we go to a road course.
How about that? I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, what a great place, Indy. You know, we had a lot of people here from michaelhogan.com. Probably had the most people ever, and this is for them. I mean, this is for the team, everybody. John and Rick Hendrick, the whole Hendrick camp. This is pretty awesome. This is one of the best races of the year, and to come home in the top 5, I can't ask for better than that.
Okay, great day there. Ties his best career finish. Jerry Nadeau finishes 4th.
Boy, he did have a great day and led 11 laps of this race, and for a while he appeared to have the car to beat.
He sure did. We see Bobby Labonte signing all the crew's hats as a memento of winning the Brickyard 400.
So all the emotion that we talked about before this race began, how many drivers, especially when you get to this time of the year, they have more of the championship in mind. If they are in a good position, they just stay there and get the points. But at the Brickyard 400, the driver wants to win to get his name on the trophy.
We talked about during the race, Bobby Labonte, the points leader. He took a chance. He goes up and he bumps Rusty Walsh to get by him.
But guess what? This came with 180 points.
That's right.
That's right. And it does mean that Bobby Labonte widens now his margin in the battle for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship for the year 2000. The celebration will go on for a few minutes here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and you can bet that it will continue late into the night. Bobby Labonte with just an outstanding effort in winning here today. This telecast of the Brickyard 400 will be the final NASCAR Winston Cup telecast for a while here on ABC Sports, which has enjoyed bringing you dozens of races over the years and all 7 stock car races here at Indianapolis. We don't want to think of it as a final goodbye, but rather an until we meet again.
The best TV is on ABC.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport.
I'm Bill Fleming, welcoming you to the Darlington Raceway.
I'd like to make you aware, to impress on you, what a big sport stock car racing has become in this country.
Now, this isn't Monte Carlo, but it seems almost like it could be.
And I'm Chrissy Conamaki at the start-finish line.
Hello, I'm Keith Jackson. Thank you, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better, and some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moment in my life. I love them all.
And we've got trouble on turn number 4. Car number 30 is upside down. That's Walter Mallard's car. We've got a wreck.
Look at that. Wow. What a crash, Pete. I don't think I've ever seen one this bad.
Jeff Gordon, winner of the inaugural Brickyard 400.
Our car is going now 85 miles an hour, and the field is pulling away from us as the green flag is now being waved on the race.
They come toward the line. Who will it be? It is going to be... Oh, no! Steve Griffin with that horrible crash.
Though I know I'll never ever lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think of them, but in my life I loved you more.
Oh! They did hit. Teddy smashes into the wall. Will he come across the start-finish line? No, he did not make it. He is less than 100 yards from it. Here comes Pearson. Pearson is going to try to make it across the finish line. Teddy has his car going. Pearson's going to win it. Oh, gosh, Randall, he wins the race.
I love you more.
This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.